And so recently I took on a Tzeentch player with my Nighthaunt army. I gave them a choice, do you want Nurgle or Nighthaunt? Technically, I had actually just played them with my Nurgle army, but it was over very quickly. They were totally unprepared for it. Mistakes were made. So we scheduled another game. I said, well, which do you want? They said, well, I played the Nurgle. We'll go for the Nighthaunt. And here it was. More mistakes were made on my part this time, mostly. But we'll get onto one as well. So, first things first, let's have a look at the armies and the deployment. So we deployed like this. Tzeentch army first of all, because it's the most straightforward. First of all, the battle plan was taken hold. So there's an objective in each of our deployment zones. At the end of turn 5, whoever, if anyone had managed, or actually at the end of anyone's turn from battle round 3, in actual fact, if anyone held both of them, they instantly won. But beyond that, it's who had the most objectives at the end of the battle. Then after that, victory point. It's actually it's a decent battle plan. The downside to it is most of my armies tend to be very full-on charge ahead, charge of the light brigade type things. And that's a bit of a problem with this because it's going to take, you can't be sure to dislodge your opponent from their objective when you're doing that by battle round 3. And what you absolutely don't want is someone nippy going and nicking yours in battle round 3 and then you've instantly lost the game, even if you're winning the battle. So you always feel like you need to leave something back just to look after it for a bit and also have everything else moving in such a way that you've got a bit of a mind for getting back quickly. That's a problem with this sort of thing. And of course, 1,000-point games makes it a bigger problem than, say, 2,000-point games. But anyway, here we go. So the Tzeentch player had 2 units of 10 Kyric Acolytes as their battle line, 2 units of Flamers. Now, here's the thing. The Flamers I'd come across in the previous game against my Nurgle had not posed a problem to me at all. They pose a problem. Sangor Shaman as their only character. That's their general, of course. And a hefty unit of 6 Sangor Enlightened with spears. Quite a beefy melee unit. Very fast. They're on flying mounts, Disciples of Tzeentch, several wounds each, all the rest of it. Pretty nasty unit. For my part, I had, as you can see there, a unit of Spirit Host, which is sort of the unit I was going to hold back near the objective. The Black Coach, Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Seed as my general, who was also a wizard, taking a relic made him a wizard, and unit of Hex Wraiths. And then in reserve, I also had Guardian of Souls and a unit of Mermorn Banshees, 8 Banshees there. So this is a unit I've used before, an army I've used before to good effect. So when we rolled off to see what was going on, my Black Coach actually straight away got up to level 3. So the way the Black Coach works is at the start of each battle round, not your turn, it's not something that happens in the hero phase. At the start of each battle round, you roll 3 dice, and for each 4+ you get, you go up a level. So I rolled the 3 and got 3 4+. So it went up to level 3, which basically, the first ones are actually the beefiest as well. So it meant I could heal D3 wounds at the start of each of my hero phases. It meant I could raise up D3 slain models in a fairly short range, but still keep the Hex Wraiths nearby. I'd be able to re-roll all hits of 1. The driver gets to do that anyway against certain types of unit, but this would just mean everything got to do that. So any hits of 1, I could re-roll those. And also be able to run and charge. Very nice. So, first turn, Tzeentch player finished deploying first, and then they chose, quite a surprise to me, to go first. But they had a plan in mind. I always say, and I'll keep repeating this, always try and make your opponent go first if you can. Unless you think they're going to do something devastating. So what he did was just shifted his army back. He looked at the situation, he thought, he sort of knew. I mean, Tzeentch is one of these things where it's not strong combat. Whereas, okay, the Sangor Enlightened are fairly strong, but they want to get a charge in, really. But the rest of the army is not strong in combat. It wants to stay back. It wants to get some shooting and magic in. So then it just very quickly moved. That was that turn. No, it didn't really do anything. And then it came to my turn. And I did, and it was potentially a mistake, but I did just go full tilt ahead. I was attempting to get things so far up that I'd be able to, well, the Black Coach, I ran it, of course, because I could run and charge anyway. Tried to charge in, didn't really work. The Mermon Banshees and the Guardian of Souls I brought on the battlefield. Obviously, I had to deploy them just over 9 inches away, but it did mean that, you know, I could try a charge roll on a 9, I'd be able to get in there, which, you know, did actually happen. So my Mermon Banshees did actually manage to get a charge off. Unfortunately, and even though I spent a command point giving them the extra attack, this is always brilliant, and they were still in range of the Guardian of Souls for +1 to wound, they performed very poorly. I was hoping to completely devastate this unit of Kyric Acolytes, which are just bog standard troops. They're not brilliant. Which unfortunately didn't happen. I only killed a few of them. It was quite awful, but there we go. That was just really unfortunate. Attempted to cast a Soul Cage with my Knight of Shrouds in the hero phase, just to stop people being able to retreat and make them go last in combat phases. Unfortunately, didn't get that off. So didn't really get anything useful off magic-wise, except for Mystic Shield on the Hex Race with Guardian of Souls. In retrospect, I wish I'd now put it on the Black Coach. So we're going to battle round 2, rolling off. Now, of course, if I win that roll, then it's all fine. It's basically all over as far as I'm concerned, because I will then be able to move everything else up and smash into it. And when you've got the Knight of Shrouds, the Hex Race, and the Black Coach just smashing in to that army, it's over. Forget about it. You know, and which is why I took the direct approach. There was another reason as well. But that didn't happen. My opponent got that and they got to go first. So they retreated their Kyric Acolytes back out of the way so that they weren't in combat with my Banshees. Moved another one across because they can shoot, so they were going to shoot. Moved the Flamers across. Moved the Sangor Enlightened as far as it could so that it would be able to then charge the Black Coach. Moved the Sangor Shaman up. Then, and this is where I made a huge mistake. Or I'd already made the mistake by just charging straight forward. So remember what I said about the Flamers. I looked at this and I thought there isn't... The Kyric Acolytes, their shooting's not good. And Flamers, it hadn't been effective against my Nurgle, but a lot of the reason for that is because, you know, against a decent-sized unit of Plague Bearers, it's not really going to do well. Plague Bearers have Cloud of Flies. As long as you've got at least 20 in the unit, you're -2 to be hit in shooting. Well, that wasn't the case here. So I basically underestimated the Flamers. Now, I've fallen foul of that in Kill Team before. Never underestimate Flamers. So, at least in fantasy, they have to roll to hit. So the Black Coach, I thought to myself, do you know what? I can take a broadside, get to my turn. I can heal D3 wounds up anyway, so a couple of wounds I can get back. And as soon as I smash into something, sorry, I'm having it. And the Guardian of Souls could potentially heal another D6 wounds back too. You know, I just felt comfortable that I could withstand a salvo. But I was wrong. I was wrong. The Flamers took 11 wounds off my Black Coach. The Black Coach that has like not many wounds. Can't remember. That virtually all of the wounds gone. So when they charged, the Sangor Enlightened charged into it. Now, just one little thing here. You'll notice a little blue square appeared onto the left of the Mermon Banshees. This, unfortunately, went a little bit wrong. So the Sangor Shaman cast a spell. I forget the name of it now. But it basically does some mortal wounds to a unit, and for each wound cause. Now, I read later that what the spell does is allows you to add for each model killed, add a Sangor to an existing Sangor unit in range. However, my opponent, and he wasn't cheating, he just misread it, just read it as you get a Sangor for each one. So he created a small unit of 2 Sangor and stuck them next to the Banshees so that he could then charge, well, within 3 inches of it, and then charged into them. It was honest mistake. The problem with that is it meant that my Mermon Banshees were stuck in combat. It shouldn't have been a big deal because I should have been able to then kill them in this combat phase. But in the combat phase, the Sangor Enlightened, I mean, they had to do next to nothing to finish off the Black Coach. So unfortunately, my Pride of Joy was gone. Now, I have in games before lost the Black Coach quite quickly, and it's been all right because the Mermon Banshees have taken over. But there were 2 issues here. The first is my Mermon Banshees were not supporting my Black Coats. They'd gone and done a thing on their own, thinking, they were on for easy meat, which turned out not to be the case. And the second thing is those Mermon Banshees were completely now trapped in combat because I didn't manage to kill. I took a wound off one of them. No, I don't think even they've got 2 wounds each. Took a wound off one, and I was just stuck now. I was stuck in combat. So then when it came to my turn, this is the situation that faced me. I had to move the Spirit Host up. This was super dangerous. I knew that the Sangor Enlightened, they can fly. They could just fly over to that objective end of turn 3 and I'm gone. But I also knew if I held them back, I've lost this now. I am dead and buried. The situation facing me is that the Mermon Banshees are trapped in combat until they can sort those out. And I know for a whole other turn, and this is what's so dangerous, they are stuck there, not able to do anything. And now in the firing line of the Flamers, the Sangor Shaman, the general, provides useful buffs to the surroundings. So I thought, I've got to take that guy out. Ordinarily, what I've wanted to do, I needed to absolutely mug the Sangor Enlightened. So I wanted to charge it with the Guardian of Souls. I don't know, I normally like hanging back, but I thought, no, I've got to go with everything. The Hex Race and the Spirit House. I would have gone in with the Knight of Shrouds as well, but I thought, I've got to take out that Shaman. So I actually charged into the Shaman with my Knight of Shrouds, and then with everything else around the Sangor Enlightened. Now, a unit of 6 Sangor Enlightened, they've got 4 wounds each, so that's 24 wounds. It's tricky, it's difficult. It is difficult. And here's where another little rule got wrong. And again, it's like, not my opponent's fault, really. It's really weird, this. So you have Sangor Enlightened, which are ones with spears, quite nasty in close combat. Then you have Sangor Skyfires, which are similar models, riding discs and everything, but they've got bows. They're quite nasty too in their own way. Now, the way it works is with the Sangor Skyfires, if they fight in close combat and no enemy units have fought, or no units at all, maybe, I think it is, within 3 inches has fought before them, then they get to re-roll failed hits and wounds. Very powerful. These get a similar rule, but for them it's the other way around. They only get to do that if another unit has already attacked. So it's the opposite way around. But, opponent again, because he's one of these who uses the apps, so you're only really looking things up when you need to look it up. So I always say roster. Print out a roster. That's the way. I'm just looking around to see if I've got one here. Here's one. So, in fact, this is actually for that army that I've got, my Nighthaunt army. Just have all this in here, and just flick through. For each phase, it tells you what you need to know. And that's the ideal way to do it. Then you don't, miss these things off. Because that's the problem with Age of Sigmar. You've got, they reduced the core rules, but what they did is it's not that there are fewer rules in Age of Sigmar than there used to be for Warhammer Fantasy Battle. In fact, there's more. It's just they've lumped them onto the individual units. So it's on the War Scrolls. So you can easily misread something. But anyway, that didn't prove a massive... I mean, that was just a tactical thing. And the problem was that my Mermon Banshees in the close combat phase really weren't getting rid of those Sangor. I managed to do some damage to the Sangor Enlightened unit. But I suffered quite a lot of damage in return as well. It was all pretty grim. The Hex Race, were pretty bad shape. And my general would be too far away to raise any back at the start of the next turn as well. But I did kill the Sangor Shaman. At least that was gone and out the way. So, and I looked at our situation. I thought, right, Sangor Shaman gone. I've still got my Knight of Shrouds here. I'd lost some things with the Hex Race there, but actually I had also done damage to the Sangor Enlightened. The Mermon Banshees were holding their own, and I thought, right, if I can go first in turn 3, I've got choices here. At the moment, I could believe that my Hex Race, Spirit Host and Guardian of Souls might just be able to hold at least the Sangor Enlightened and even chip away at them for a turn or two. My Knight of Shrouds would be able to ram himself into those Flamers. And, they wouldn't stand up to much punishment. So I would absolutely be able to take not all of them out. You've got 2 units of 3 Flamers there. They've got like 2 wounds each, something like that. I'm not going to do that much damage, but I could certainly take one of them out, and then we should be, And I thought to myself, I can still win this basically, but I need to go next. But I didn't, so I didn't. And And I know, you look at the situation and you think, right, there's, oh, if only I'd have won that. I never sort of think that, because if you ever put yourself into a situation, I keep saying this, where it's down to a die roll, it's because you've made errors. And I made errors. Like I say, I should have treated those flames with more respect. There was a big old hill in the middle of that battle table. I should have used that to guard my approach a little bit. Or at the very least have swung out further to the left. I could have swung everything out to the left and attacked with everything coordinated down one side and worked my way across. And if I was being more cautious, I absolutely would have done that. So, for the start of my turn, there was no movement to be made, really. So, the Tzeentch phase, sorry. They were just going to, everything that wanted to be in combat was already in combat, and everything else was just going to shoot. So, that didn't do me any good. My Knight of Shrouds and Ethereal Steed gone. The Carrick Acolytes decided to charge into my Banshees. The one that had the most models, the one at the back that retreated before, had lost some models, of course. So, the one that was at full strength charging into the Banshees now. And the Flamers, so they've shot my... They first of all knackered my Black Coach. Now they've knackered my General. So that means, my command points are basically gone. In the combat, the Banshees now were faring very badly. So they were getting shot at by the Flamers and they were getting mugged by the Sangor. I still couldn't kill. And that was really annoying, because then if we'd have known that rule, if we'd have got that rule right, first of all, those Sangor wouldn't have been there. My Banshees would have been able to charge the Flamers. So that was really annoying. So annoying. In terms of the Sangor Enlightened, that started going quite badly. My Hex Wraiths died. So I couldn't get to attack with those at all, because I decided to go with my Spirit Host first. And so the Sangor Enlightened then, of course, obviously not going to attack the Spirit Host. So they attacked the Hex Wraiths, with one of them attacking my Guardian of Souls. So then it was, so it was going pretty badly. My turn, and, those Hex Wraiths have gone. The Sangor, at least, were gone, but I'm now in combat with Kyric Acolytes, and I've just been pounded by the Flamers. So again, I'm looking at the situation now, and I'm just thinking, this is it, I'm buggered. It's already turn 3. I know on the next turn, those Sangor Enlightened, because I'm more than 6 inches away from my objective, they can just fly over to the objective, and at the end of their turn, they will have won. I thought, it's lost. This is now definitely lost. But even then, it was more serious than that. So, got to turn 4, and I actually won the roll. So I got to go first. I'm thinking, at this point, there is nothing I can do. The best I could do was try and retreat my Spirit Host and get within 6 inches of the objective again. Pointless. What would be the point? The best it would do is mean that maybe I could hold on to it, and at the end of the game, we'd have an objective each. It's unlikely, but possible. And then it'd go to victory points, after which I would still lose. So there was no point in that. This was the point where I would actually just concede a game, but I'm not really into conceding games. I'll go to the bitter end. So not a lot I could really do. Guardian of Souls gone. The Myrmidon Banshees were now, there's very little left of them. All I could do was just try and do some damage against the Sangor, enlighten with my diminishing number of Spirit Hosts. And then it came to the Tzeentch player's turn, where, they just pummeled me. The Flamers shot into the Banshees again. The Sangor enlightened onto the Spirit Hosts, and then that was it. That was basically it. I couldn't actually win from that point on. I'd lost everything. There it goes. Bye-bye. So it's the first time in Age of Sigmar that I've ever been tabled, lost all my troops. I'm much more used to doing that the other way around. And this is it. I mean, they have some quite powerful units, and this isn't like this isn't the best Tzeentch 1,000 point army you would come against either. But really, it's not down to that. It was down to being too glib. I should have treated, and I don't know why I didn't treat it with more respect. I've got to be honest, because one, you can see Tzeentch armies doing well in tournaments. You know that they can do well. The Destiny dice are really handy. Secondly, you've got just because I was able to stomp it, and I reckon my 1,000 point Nurgle army, which I'm going to play against this again on Monday with my Nurgle army, but it's not going to be exactly the same army. Apparently he's got some Chaos Warriors he's been waiting for, so they're ready to go. So it will be a different army, slightly, but I'm quite sure the Sangor Enlightened will be in there. I'm not sure if he'd go back to Skyfires, actually. I suspect not. Because actually, yeah, against my Nurgle army, he'll have learnt that shooting's not going to do him that much good. So I suspect the Sangor Enlightened will still be there. The Flamers will... Actually, the Flamers were much less use against my Nurgle. I'm sure he'll still take them. And then some Chaos Warriors. I don't know I don't know what else he'll take. Because he can't take everything as the same. So something we'll have to give. Unless he just replaces his Kyric Acolytes with a small unit of Chaos Warriors. That's possible. But we will see. We shall have to wait to see for that. But anyway, there we go. Though that was my crass errors. I will just have to not be too glib in future. I mean, I know sometimes there is an attitude of you don't want to be too cautious because you only got so many turns and you want to make hay while the sun shines. But if there are units that I don't really know exactly what they're doing, and I don't, even though I've got the Tzeentch book, although when I look through it, it's badly out of date. There's really no point in looking through it. I recently bought the War Scroll cards as well. That was a waste of money because there's actually, when I looked through it, quite a lot of the... Because it's not just the points values that have changed. Quite a lot of the stats have changed. That's the problem with those older battle tomes. So given that, if I don't know what they're capable of, I really should be a bit more cautious, or at least ask my opponent what they can do. But lessons learnt. It may be a while before I play against Tzeentch with my Nighthaunt army again, because, as I say, this Friday I'm supposed to be playing someone with my Nurgle army. But I've never played them before, and I don't really know what they're bringing. It's either Goblins or another Nurgle army. I don't really want a Nurgle against Nurgle. I don't like Civil Wars, but anyway, whatever. Then on Monday I'm playing against Tzeentch, but that's going to be with my Nurgle army. And then very soon after that, I'm basically getting my Skaven army ready. And it will be most unlike me. I've not even been able to paint my Stormcast Eternal in the last 2 months. That's what my job has been for the last 2 months. I've been lazy and not even done that. So you would think the idea of me painting a Skaven army would be ridiculous, but it's my favourite army. I am doing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the battle report anyway. Don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for further content. Click the bell notification to be notified of that further content. Comment down below, please. And until next time, I'll see you later.